has scrambled last minute with this vote twist, you guys, because I do not believe this was going to be the vote. Hey there, it's Anonymous Tea, where we spill the tea anonymously. Hello, everyone. Hello, YouTubers. Hope you guys are all having an amazing day today, sending good vibes, sending positivity, sending blessings, and good energy to each and every single one of you. Thank you so much for tuning in. So, anything I say is alleged and in my very, very personal opinion. This is for entertainment purposes only. None of this is personal. The Copyright Act of 1976 is in the description box. Some meat and potatoes, some housekeeping items. So, today we are talking Love Island USA Season 8. Episode 21. What in the H-double-L did I just watch? Full disclosure, I fast-forwarded to the end. I didn't even care what everybody else did. I knew Anaya was going to be last, you guys. And it was a hot mess express, but then it turned into Anaya versus KC, and then it turned into Trinity versus KC, and then it turned into Trinity versus TT. Oh, I cannot wait to get into it. But we're going to start at the beginning and get through this madness that was this episode, you guys. What in the H-double-L? So before we get to the entertainment, we have to start with a conversation between Kenzie, and she was up here talking about how she almost didn't pass the 5th grade and then ended up passing nursing school. Then we have Corbin and Parita, and it's interesting that he's speaking on Kenzie, alleging that it was just sexual chemistry, but I'm looking at the two of y'all, and it's just sexual chemistry. And so basically Parita wants Corbin to try Persian food and everything else, but I didn't get any indication from Corbin that this is like a long-term thing. Then we have a conversation between Trinity's dupe, Sydney, at Casa Amor, between her and Bryce. Bryce said he had an emotional reaction to everything, to the pictures, but he, basically is hoping things will come together. Then it's nighttime, you know what I'm saying, and everybody's getting ready for bed at Casa. Casey is going to happily go to the bed with TT talking about some honey, I'm home, and then she basically straddles him in front of everybody before they pull the covers over. And then ultimately that is the conversation between Anaya and Trinity and the girls, where it was shown in the first look, you know what I'm saying? Casey, some fine SHIT. Casey is so fine, da-da-da-da-da. And Trinity was like, listen, you can go and deal with that fine SHIT. You can keep dealing with that man that's going to continue to do you dirty, and you're going to be a dumb ASS. You're going to be a dummy. But as long as he is fine. And I felt like it was a bad omen. I don't know why some people thought that it was a misdirect and that that Anaya got a wake-up call. I told you Anaya fell for that man. She fell for that man's love bombing and no action behind it, right? So then as well, we go back to Casa Amor. Sincere is talking to Amor about sleeping with socks on and said that her hands were cold and everything else. Trinity sleeps for the second night in soul ties. And I'm not going to hold y'all, Trinity, you're my girl, but I have no idea why you need to sleep in soul ties. Like, literally, you could sleep at the edge of the bed as far as I care. You know what I'm saying? Like Ronnie's not going to do anything to you. Ronnie's not going to try anything with you. Everybody know you tried a connection with Corey and basically wrote everybody else off as far as the Casa men goes. Nobody's going to try to do anything to you in the bed. Make it make sense! So then, you guys, we get to the bad boys of Casa, which is none other than Sincere, Casey, and Corbin, who are all doing stuff in the bed, you know what I'm saying, with the Casa girls. Then we have a conversation in the morning with Bryce and Zack Attack, you guys. And for me, Zack Attack, you know you don't have any other connection, right? You know you don't have any other connection. So technically it is unknown to us if Alana would have stayed in the villa, if she wasn't exposed for being an RACIST, what would have came of things. So then Corey tells Anaya back at the villa that Anaya and Kenzie, that he is planning something special for Melanie. So finally, nearly 4 weeks, somebody is trying to do something. Somebody's trying to put together an ace type of date or try to do something special for the girls. And this is why I'm saying these men over at Casa have put in zero work, zero effort for the arrogance and the cockiness of it all in the way that they treat these ladies. So ultimately what happens is, the men cook breakfast and they bring up the breakfast and all of this and all of that. There's a conversation, you know what I'm saying, as well with Sincere and Caleb. And it seems like it was a pretty loud conversation because the girls in Casa could hear him from the dressing room. No. Basically said that the girls in the villa are like the girls on the outside. And the reason that they're like the girls on the outside, because they're not going to step on anyone's toes. They're not going to mess with anybody's man. And have you met Kenzie for the last 3 weeks? Have you met Kenzie the last 3 weeks, who does not mind messing with anybody's man? And she's currently doing it at Casa Amor. I'm like, what? And they're like, yeah, Sincere and Caleb, like, yeah, because the girls here at Casa, they're just open. They're open for everything. What? We know, you know what I'm saying? But that's how these men see these Casa girls. They see them as EASY. They see them as EASY, but what they fail to realize is the objective is to make the villa. The objective is to be all up on you, like the bombshells, like you, Caleb. When you came in a bombshell, this is how you were supposed to move. You were supposed to be all on who you were supposed to be all on, right? And you put all your eggs into Kenzie, and then it flopped. So, nonetheless, we have a conversation as well with the Casa girls, right? So they're having a conversation about, Amara is contemplating on whether or not, Sincere is going to choose her over Melanie. And I just, Amara, you know what I'm saying? Like, you've watched Sincere lie for 3 weeks. Lie, just willing to lie. But when push came to shove, what happens? He ends up choosing Melanie. We were the ones that put him with Soul, right? But ultimately, he'll choose Melanie when it is all said and done. And so then TT and them, they're like, oh, but it's off and on, it's toxic, da-da-da-da-da, but that's what they like. That is what Sincere and Melanie like. They like the toxicity of their union. So then there is, Corey and Carl as well, or Melanie, back to the date. So the girls are looking over at the date outside of the dressing room, and ultimately they give some privacy to Melanie and Corey, and then Melanie decides to kiss Corey twice outside of a challenge. And this is the first time, you know what I'm saying, that she is kissing someone outside of a challenge because, why not? Sincere did it, so why not you? So then we have a situation where Carl takes Kenzie to an alleged spa villa. But here's my thing. So why did y'all Casa men wait till the last day to do this? Y'all were in the villa for 3 days. You know what I'm saying? Y'all couldn't plan dates. Like day 1, day 2, and day 3. You wait until the last day to ensure the OG Villa girls pick you. And this is why some of y'all were not selected. Y'all can't be doing no last minute nonsense. Y'all should have been putting in this type of work every single day. Breakfast is the bare minimum. So Dylan creates a spa day, and I'm not going to hold y'all. I don't know what the spa day was because him and Kenzie were kissing almost immediately. You know what I'm saying? Like whatever type of setup he had, whatever type of lotion, whatever type of massage it was supposed to be. Even Kenzie said that basically he got bricked up pretty quick. So there was not much of a spa day taking place. Kata and Che are talking about Boston accents by the pool. Don't care. Then Ronity and Trinity are talking about how she felt about the postcard, and I was of confusion because I felt like ultimately, while Bryce's postcard was nasty, he was not doing anything outside of a challenge. And basically, Trinity was like, let's look at here. Like, ultimately, he sucked my toes first. So that was on that. Then Bryce is under the impression, and I don't know why he's under this impression, but he thinks that Trinity has moved on and has, you know what I'm saying, found a black man, and you know what I'm saying, found her some chocolate, found her some caramel, you know what I'm saying, found her some butterscotch, and has moved on from vanilla, you know what I'm saying? So he is over there crashing out and everything else, and I can't tell if he's serious or not. I cannot tell if he is serious or not. And really, the bottom line is, I feel like at this point, we have a couple weeks left in the show. If they do not bring in a bombshell for Bryce, for, Trinity and Bryce to ultimately test their connection, like, I'm going to feel a certain type of way, because I feel like there's been enough havoc that has been wrecked on all of these couples with the bombshells, and there is yet to be a bombshell to come in specifically for Bryce. Unless that's what they were hoping with Jen, but that was a flop. So then as well, you guys, there was a conversation between Jen and Trinity about Kenzie and about the fact how, because I think Kenzie had another conversation with Cal. and if I'm Jen and I know that Casa's coming to an end soon, I would choose Ronnie or Corey. I would not choose Cal if you were seeing Kenzie pull Cal for chats. Because what is going to happen is she is going to continue to pull Cal for chats, right? So basically, they were just, chalking it up that Kenzie likes to talk to multiple people at once. She cannot stay loyal to one person. She likes to have somebody as backup and all of this and all of that. And it's interesting that Jen is taking this so well, because this was not the same energy, you know what I'm saying, when it happened to other people in the villa. So then there was a scene of Anaya and Carl playing volleyball. As you'll remember, Anaya played volleyball in college, and Carl, a lot of his family plays volleyball and things like that. And ultimately, they have a sit down, have a conversation. She said basically Carl is all green flags, and he's all these good things to say about you, but she is conflicted because the decision about Casey is weighing on her. And I found this interesting. It's almost as if Anaya does she think that Carl is too good to be true? Is that what this is? That he's too nice, that he's too kind, that it could be too good to be true? Or is she, in her mind, in her head, that because she invested 3 weeks with KC, that KC is the better selection? So then from there was a conversation with TT and Sincere that I found very interesting. They were talking about Amora as well as Anaya. And I feel like it was kind of weird because Sincere, as you know, Sincere and Anaya are really close. They're really good friends. So I don't know if TT is just like morphing into everything that she's seen Anaya done, or if this was a genuine conversation. I was kind of like, okay. But basically, we have Sincere talking a whole bunch of BS and saying a whole lot of nothing, talking about trying to fit the right puzzle pieces into whatever puzzle, and all of the imaginary things that he says that people just eat and gobble up, and I just don't get it. Then he says that Anaya is dope, and, but said that Casey has been smiling, and they haven't seen that for 3 weeks. So here's the thing. We have seen a lot of content where Anaya and Casey were smiling and laughing and stuff with each other. I feel like they're putting 20 on 10 with, oh my gosh, he's so happy, da-da-da-da-da. Like as if Anaya was making his life miserable. And my thing is, if it was so bad, you should have went after Soul immediately, regardless of Anaya's reaction. If it's so horrible and Casey was so miserable this whole time, you could have went after Soul, you could have went after Jen, you could have went after Kata if it was so bad. Or Trinity, if it was so bad with Anaya. But y'all acting like Anaya and Casey never had any good times, never had any laughs, never had any jokes, and that's just not the truth. So then Melanie tells the girl, she tells Kata and, Anaya that she kissed Corey twice. Bryce is in his head thinking that things are over. And basically Sincere's all about, it's about, your faith being tested and da-da-da-da-da. Anaya is still in her head talking about she has no clue what she's about to do with her decisions, because they all got a text or whatever that, tonight's the recoupling, Casa Amor is over, you get to reunite with your original couple or potentially choose a Casa person. Trinity said that her heart is in her ASS crack. And then Zach is worried if Kata is going to crash out over the photo and recouple with another guy. And then Corbin is like, listen, look at here. You know what I'm saying? I basically wrote off Kenzie the moment that the Casa girls walked in for the heart rate challenge. So therefore, you know what I'm saying? That there's nothing for me to, come back to. Then as well, there's a conversation with Casey. And it's pretty evil. Key's like, I'm leading with my heart. not logic, and heading with my feelings, and it's about me and not about Anaya, not about Tay, and I need to be a little selfish, except for he's grinning. He is hoping to have a moment, a TV moment, is what it was giving me. Casey was looking for his time to shine. You know what I'm saying? Even though he saw that picture of Anaya with Carl, he is still hoping for Anaya to be humiliated because he wants to have TT on his arm to tell Anaya, somebody chose me. But what Casey fails to realize is that anybody was going to choose you at Casa Amor because they're trying to get into the villa. Let's see if that same energy is the case next week. So then as well, Carl is telling, Anaya, like, listen, look at here. You are an incredible person. You deserve to be with somebody who admires you for who you are. So I don't know if these Casa men told Anaya at all how Casey has been moving. Because we only saw Corey really let Melanie know, like you deserve better, you could do better. Sincere is telling all the women the same things that he's telling you. You know what I'm saying? But I never saw those types of conversations towards Anaya. And I feel like production, and I'm going to say this again, you guys dropped the ball. I like the postcard, but it was not enough for people like Melanie and Anaya. It's not enough for them. You needed to show them video footage. And I know y'all are going to say, oh, but they showed them the heart rate challenge. That should have been enough. But really the only person that really went there was Corbin. Basically let it be known, you know what I'm saying? That's all. It's todos es final for Kenzie. But that was not really, even though the men were extra excited and extra flirty, those women in their mind, they view the challenge as you can go all out in the challenge, but as long as there's nothing outside of the challenge, or if you, and then in the case of Anaya, since both her and Casey kiss people outside of the challenge, she's thinking they're even. She has no idea at this point of all the cash SHIT Casey is saying behind her back. We know it because we're watching, but Anaya doesn't know. So yeah, things were rocky before he went off to Casa Amor with the whole soul of it all. But Anaya, in her mind, if she is still reading Casey's letter from their recoupling on day 13, she has not let Casey go out of her system. And basically let it be known that at this moment, she is more attracted to Casey than Carl. And I don't know how many times I got to tell y'all, Anaya fell for Casey's love bombing. She fell for him. I don't know why y'all try to twist yourselves into a pretzel and say that Anaya didn't like Casey. I saw it right away. I saw she fell for him. I don't know why people don't think that she didn't like that man. She definitely likes that man, because if she would have moved on, you know what I'm saying? Anyways, there was a conversation with Anaya and Melanie. Melanie is telling Anaya, I have not seen you this happy this entire time you've been in this villa. So same conversation that is happening with Sincere, you know what I'm saying, over at Casa Amor. Now the question is this potential sabotage because Casey and Anaya were a top couple, or is this genuine, like, hey, you're not stressed out, you're not in your head, you don't have to overthink anything with Carl. Carl's a good dude, Carl is nice. And Melanie said what needed to be said and had this mic drop. She said, Casey is a kid, Carl is a man. What else is there to decide? What other choice is there to be made? Bryce is on some nonsense at Casa Amor talking about he is cooked. Out of all the guys, he's going to be the one that's cooked. That Trinity has moved on. She has rode off into the sunset with the Casa guy from one photo booth picture. Like, Bryce, like be for real. Be for real, right? So then Casey says that he has poured into Anaya so much that he cannot put her emotions on himself. And I said, here we go. I said, here goes Caleb 2.0 from season 2. I told y'all if Caleb and Timmy had a baby, it would be Casey. Caleb for the love bombing piece. Caleb for the love bombing piece, for the speeches, for all of the things, and sucking Anaya in. Timmy for not being man enough initially to let the people know he was really feeling these bombshells. And then reality set in that 100K what was in the balance. Parita said she's not a pick-me. Kata is asking about Faith in Zach Attack, and basically the girls are probably telling her he probably just wanted to explore, do some BS, and we'll probably be back to her, right? Then all the guys are hyping up Carl and telling Carl that Anaya's wanted a Prince Charming, and that's literally you. That you got to be confident that she's going to pick you. And ultimately, you know what I'm saying, Anaya is more concerned, you guys, in the dressing room of looking good for Casey. That she wants to, the girls are hyping her up, telling her she looks so hot, and she's like, yeah, I haven't seen that fool in a minute. So in Anaya's mind, she is still. I don't know what type of spell Casey put on Anaya. I don't know what happened in some of these bed scenes with him and Anaya, because I do not believe for 1 second that she always fell asleep every night, because we knew in the first week that they did have some kisses, they did have some cuddles, and then after the male letter ceremony for the recoupling, they kissed in the bed that night as well. So then, you guys, we have Ariana Maddox. It's time for the recoupling, you guys. And it was very dramatic. They wanted to show Ariana's outfit, and I was like, okay, what are we doing? Like, why do we keep showing the ASS? What is happening? Then, you guys, Jen goes first. It's a nothing burger. I feel like I was like, Jen, please choose Ronnie or choose Corey. You know what I'm saying? Do not choose Cal, because Kenzie is going to pull him for chats. And low-key, I feel like they should have made Kenzie go first to see who she would have selected. But anyways, Jen decided to choose Cal. So I don't want to hear it, Jen. When Kenzie starts pulling Cal for chats and there's a recoupling and he chooses Kenzie over you. And Kenzie gets bored with Dylan. Because I feel like that's where the storyline is heading. Jen is about to be dumped from this villa soon because she chose the wrong Casa guy. Because if you saw for the past couple of days, now all of a sudden, your bestie in the villa wants to talk to your man, and you just let it rock. You start talking to Ronnie. Things look good with Ronnie, but maybe you couldn't get past his brown tooth. You know what I'm saying? But you still could have chose Corey. You know what I'm saying? Corey was right there. Anyways, that happens, and next we have Kenzie. Now, I'm of confusion, before we get to Kenzie, we had Caleb, right? So all the girls are excited for Caleb to come back, talking about this is their cowboy, all this, all that. Caleb is furniture. Caleb and Jen are furniture, and they can go. They can get up on out of this villa because they are giving absolutely nothing. So he walks in with Jaden and everything else, and all the girls are clapping. They're so excited to see him and everything else. And then that is when it is revealed to Caleb. He had no clue that the heart rate challenge was live streamed. So that was new information to him. So then Kenzie goes next and basically says that she definitely is recoupling. She is not sticking around to see Corbin's nonsense, that Corbin basically wrote her off, threw her in the trash, and discarded of her the soon, fast, in a hurry the moment that these other women appeared for a heart rate challenge. So she is donezo, right? And so ultimately, they're pissed about Corbin. And, basically they don't feel Corbin is real, that he wasn't genuine, that he's being a crappy person, didn't tell the truth, and all of this and all of that. And basically Kenzie chooses Dylan to recouple, but I feel like she still likes Gal, and I don't think this is going to end the way that Dylan is hoping this is going to end. And I feel like, Jen, you messed up. Jen, you should have chose Ronnie or Corey. So then with that, you guys, the girls want Corbin out of this villa. The girls want Corbin out of the villa. They want him on the first plane ticket back to Miami because of how disgusting and disrespectful he was to Kenzie. And the thing of it is, they don't even know the half. They don't even know the conversations that Corbin was having with KC. So if you think of what he said, it just the live stream was bad, wait till we get to movie night, which better be on Sunday. So then they said that Corbin is shunned, that none of them is effing with him, and all of this and all of that. So when Corbin and Parita walk into the villa, the girls are like, boo, boo this man, tomatoes, boo. Listen, if they only knew the half of the cash, S-H-I-T, that Corbin was talking at Casa Amor, it would have been 100 times worse. So basically, they were like, we do not appreciate you talking about Kenzie, throwing her out the window, and all of this and all of that. And then that is when realization came in that he finds out that the heart rate challenge was live streamed, right? And basically, you know what I'm saying? They were like, we hope that those 3 days at Casa felt good and all of this and all of that. Corbin says that a lot of emotions are there, but, basically felt the best decision for himself. Melanie said that he was distasteful and disrespectful. Anaya said everybody saw how Corbin was moving. Kenzie said that she genuinely had feelings, and how could you switch up after 3 days and all of this and all of that. And then Trinity was like, listen, look at here. I hope you have a good connection. I don't trust no man like that. You know what I'm saying? To be disrespectful and do all of that and say things that he don't mean. Because remember, before Casa Amor, Corbin was on some, oh, I got feelings for you, Kenzie. And I thought it was BS. Because I feel like once he kept getting in the bottom by America, he was off that. But he had to bide his time. Him and KC were basically waiting for Casa Amor, which they basically confirmed, right? And basically said, the girls were going in saying that all Corbin is thinking about was with his D-I-C-K. And then Parita is trying to jump in like, it's not like that. It wasn't that bad and da-da-da-da-da. And they're like, we heard and saw and conquered. We heard and saw and conquered, and we know how bad it was. Were you there for every aspect of the heart rate challenge? You know what I'm saying? Purring like a kitty cat. So then, you guys, we move on to Kata. Kata is upset with Zach Attack because, of course, he kissed somebody outside of the challenge. So she is unsure whether or not Zach Attack is going to come back with somebody. And ultimately, Zach comes back alone. But he comes back alone because of the simple fact that Alana got booted from the villa. So Zach is happy that Kata is alone, and they're excited. Kata said, listen, look at here. I didn't kiss anybody outside of the challenge. And, ultimately, I saw how you were moving. I saw the postcard, and Zach, tries to run to Kata, says that he's going to make it up to Kata, and all of this and all of that. Next, we move on to Melanie. Melanie says that, she gives a speech to Corey that he's very considerate, loved all the dates, and she heard from all of the Casa Amor guys that she deserved better. So that would be a decision to select Corey, correct? No. And that Melanie is aware that Sincere is telling one girl everything and another girl another, and she feels embarrassed. But she feels that Corey is an amazing guy, everything she wants in a guy, but she still wants to stay with Sincere. Melanie, this is what I'm saying. Melanie is not going to leave Sincere alone, no matter how many people tell her to her face that Sincere is not it. Like, what are we doing? Dylan's face, he was completely crushed because I think he really likes Corey. I think Corey was his boy in the villa for Casa, and he just he puts his head back at the fire pit next to Kenzie, and he is just beside himself because he really thought, I think these Casa men really thought a lot of them were going to make it in the villa, and y'all did not put in enough work with these Casa women. But production, you did not put in enough work either by sending them videos. You should have sent them videos. The girls season 6 got videos. The girls season 7 got videos. These girls were going to write off that heart rate challenge. Everybody except for Kenzie. Everybody except for Kenzie. So then Sincere comes back single, and he is cheesing hard, talking about I am blessed, and he has on white, Melanie has on white, and he's like, I'm the luckiest man in the world, and Melanie is like, listen, look at here. We may be back in a couple, but I feel embarrassed. How are you biting somebody's lip I deserve more. I don't know how you're acting so different. Is your DICK in your brain and da 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 da? How can you act that way when I'm not looking? And then you do all that nonsense with Soul and everything else while you're away from me and everything else. But you say in your letter to me that you miss home and da 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 da. And so then Zach said something too, I guess, under his breath or whatever the case. But ultimately, said that I'm into laughs, wipe that smile, and everything else. So Sincere and Melanie ultimately reunite. And he gives Melanie a flower that he picked over at Casa Amor. I just couldn't. He was like, I got something for you. And he picked a little piece of the flower from the flower department at Casa. Like, Sincere. You could have put together a letter. You could have gave an apology. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on now. Trinity is next, you guys. Trinity is next. She is gushing about Bryce and how she loves him so much and is can't wait to reunite with him and all this and all that. And here comes Bryce in matching yellow and is practically running into the villa. And he is so excited. He's crying, but I don't see any tears. And saying they're talking about how much they miss each other. Bryce said that he didn't kiss one girl. He didn't pursue one girl. Here's the real Bryce. There was nobody there for you to pursue. There was nobody there for you to be involved with, right? So basically said all he could think about is Trinity. He was looking at their old photos and everything else. And so, Trinity basically said that she was not trying to, risk everything that they had. She slept in soul ties for a couple of nights and all of the things. So she gets her turtle kisses back. She gets her turtle kisses back, you guys. Then it was like a shot during Trinity and Bryce reunited where Anaya was like freaking out. And I was like, uh-oh. And so then the Casa guys, it's like realization has set in because there's like 4 of them still standing there. And they're all like to Carl, well, if any of us are going to get saved, it's you. And I was like, uh-oh. I was like, doom and gloom is coming. Mess is coming. Carl said, listen, look at here. I'm not really confident. I am not confident. I'm not going to hold y'all. I think I'm about to be booted right out with y'all. I think I'm about to be at the Fiji airport ASAP. So then Anaya is last. Anaya is last. And here goes Ariana talking about, well, you and Casey were a couple by default. I don't remember you doing this season 6 with Cordell. Because Cordell was not chosen either. But you make that, hey, you and Casey were a couple by default. So ultimately, you know what I'm saying? She's like, okay, Anaya, what is your decision? Do you want to stay in your couple with Casey or do you want to recouple with one of the Casa men? So basically, Anaya said that, she feels like she never had a chance really to explore. She is really grateful for her experience with Carl. And I was like, oh no. Anaya, wrong road. Carl makes her feel beautiful. Carl makes her feel secure. She's nice to have by her side, all this and all of that. And Trinity is shaking her head because she sees the writing on the wall. That Anaya is about to F this up. Anaya is about to do the worst thing ever, which is actually think that a man like Casey is loyal to her and to her only. So ultimately, says that Carl is so perfect. And however, she said that she was thinking about Casey and wanted to be by Casey's side. And wanted to continue the connection with Casey, that it was a hard decision, that initially, yes, that first day that they did not pick each other. However, she's grateful that ultimately that this is going to be the guy that's by her side. The connection that she's built for the last 3 weeks. No. And I'm shouting to the TV production, you did not do enough. The postcard was enough. The heart rate challenge was not enough. Because in Anaya's mind, she kissed somebody outside of a challenge. In Anaya's mind, a challenge is where you can go crazy. It's not going to mean anything. You should have had 3 pictures up there of KC, and you should have had a quote that Anaya and I have nothing in common, and all this and all of that. Like you should have just had, honestly, to keep it a buck with y'all, the whole postcard should have just been for Anaya. Y'all knew Kata was going to go back to Zack Attack. Y'all knew Trinity and Bryce were not going to leave each other alone. You know what I'm saying? You already knew Kenzie was done from the live stream. You know what I'm saying? Jen didn't need to see anything. We didn't need to see Caleb. You really just needed it for Anaya and Melanie. If you were going to do something, if you were going to make something shake, you should have had 3 or 4 photos of Casey and 2 photos of Sincere. Have some bed photos, have all of the things. But y'all showed the tamest of things because deep down, y'all thought that was enough. But y'all dealing with people who neither, you know what I'm saying, are hard-headed. You are dealing with people who are hard-headed and need to see for themselves who they are dealing with. And unfortunately, production, you did not show the video footage, the video receipts of Anaya of how bad Casey was talking about her. So ultimately, they pan to the other guys, the OG guys, and they have the pain look on their faces because they know Casey's coming back with TT. Because they switched it up this year. As you know, last year they decided to do an all-in-one recoupling, which was a disaster. So they went back to the old school version, which is whoever is, you know what I'm saying, at the OG villa, you know, the guys or the girls, they come back either single or with someone, right? So then you guys, as Anaya is standing, awaiting for Casey's arrival, the core 4, they lock in. They are all grabbing Anaya's hands. Kata, Trinity, you know what I'm saying, and Melanie, they are right there grabbing, you know, Anaya and everything else. And then Casey brings in TT. And Jen is the first to see it. Jen is like, oh, Casey has a girl. I was like, Jen, you messy. But this is about to be cinema, you guys. So then Anaya starts crying, y'all. Starts crying. And then people are asking if, you know, if Anaya's okay. Carl said, holy SHIT. Trinity was like, y'all men easy after 3 days, dead ASS. Casey is looking down at the ground. You know what I'm saying? Anaya says that she feels stupid, and the girls are telling her she's not stupid, even though y'all were telling her earlier she would be stupid if she picked Casey. But anyways, you know what I'm saying? The girls are saying that Casey is an idiot, that Casey is trifling. Anaya says that she is pissed off. She said that all of y'all were right. Everybody, you know what I'm saying? Everybody told me I was being delusional. Everybody in this villa was telling me I was being delusional about Casey. So then Casey responds and says, that is a sad reaction. It's not really easy to hear. I hate to see Anaya like that and all of this and all of that. And then, you know, he says that the decision wasn't for Anaya, that it was for himself. And he understands that people are going to be mad. People are going to be sad. Anaya says, F you. F you and F you for all of the weeks that we had because it was BS. And Casey's like, I know, I understand that. And ultimately, Casey and Anaya, they're trying to get their words in at each other. They're going back and forth. And people are trying to interject into the conversations because the girls are whacking Casey, right? They're trying to get their whacks in with Casey. And so then Casey's like, listen, I got to say some stuff that I need to say or whatever the case. And then ultimately, Trini was like, listen, you're about to tell us a whole lot of nothing. And then here comes Zach Attack. Let him speak. But see, Zach, I don't buy none of the crap you're selling because I know deep down you are happy that the couple, a favorite couple in Anaya and Casey is donezo, right? I know you are thrilled. And I know you're about to go work on whoever your next victim is, right? So I don't buy, this whole let him speak. Any other time, you and Bryce are bashing Casey behind his back. But now you want to have his back all of a sudden. Miss me with the BS. And so then Casey is like, the whole time that I've been in here, I've poured into you. I've picked you time and time again, even when nobody picked me. And then he turns to Ariana Maddox, y'all, and is like, are you feeling me? And Ariana, she shakes her head. She's like, I said, Casey is on one tonight. He is absolutely on one because this is insane. Trinity is like, listen, we did not know you the first day, and the other girls chimed in. Like, how are we supposed to know who you are the first day? We're going off of first impressions. So how are you going to hold that against us for 3 weeks? And this is my thing. Nobody wants to talk about this. Casey exposed at Casa. He was just biding his time with Anaya until Casa Amor, but he secretly was holding a grudge that whole time. Nobody was behind his door. and he was so excited to get attention from Sydney and Tay at Casa Amor. But again, the objective is to make the villa. So how do you know it's really genuine on their part when it's a game to win 100K and stay in the game as long as possible to get to these brand deals? So then Anaya says, what are you talking about? I picked you every single effing time up here at this fire pit. I picked you at the recoupling. I picked you with the letters. She also picked you at the red light, green light challenge. She said, I picked you here. Here I picked you. And you didn't pick me. I picked you and you didn't pick me when it was all said and done. So how dare you try to flip this? Casey then closes his eyes. And then Anaya continues. Even when we had conversations, even when we had talk and we said stuff, at the end of the conversations, I always told you at the end of the day, I would still pick you. I would just pick you and all of this and all of that. And this is a decision where I picked you once again and you did not pick me. At this point, Casey is rolling his eyes. Carl is crying for Anaya, you guys. And I'm like, uh-oh. Carl is crying. He's got tears in his eyes. And I'm like, production, get to work. Production, get to work. Look at Carl. Look at Carl's reaction. You know what I'm saying? This is blowing up. This is a disaster, because I felt like in that moment, production realized that they didn't want this for Anaya. When they panned that camera to a crying Carl, I realized they did not want this for Anaya, and all HELL was about to break loose. So ultimately, I said, production, you should have sent Anaya and Melanie those videos. You really thought that little postcard in the heart rate challenge was going to be enough when you're hard-headed, when you are hard-headed and you were in your early 20s, you know what I'm saying? Listen, you need receipts, real concrete receipts. So then Casey as well, he puts his head down, and Anaya says she feels so stupid. The girls again are saying, Anaya, you're not stupid. Anaya said she went with her gut and she was wrong, so F me. Carl! We get camera back on Carl. You know what I'm saying? Carl is mouthing to Anaya, it is okay, Anaya, it is okay. I don't know if Anaya heard him or not. I heard him. You know what I'm saying? I'm not in Fiji right now, but I heard Carl from the screen and all of the things. And so then, keep saying it's okay. And so Trinity and Kata, they're disgusted. They're like, ew, this is disgusting. This is nasty. This is trifling. And Trinity was whispering to Anaya, you are still that witch with a B. So then Ariana is like, well, enough of that. Tay, welcome to the villa. I know this is a difficult environment. Emotions are high, all of this and all of that. Do you have anything you would like to say? Tay says that she thinks her and KC have a great connection and everybody deserves a connection, just like everyone deserves to be happy. And it's unfortunate that people's feelings had to get hurt, but that is a part of the process. And then they pan to Anaya's tears roll. Then Trinity is like, listen, look at here, an Ariana Maddox. You know what I'm saying? Listen, look at here, host. I got something I need to say. And I was like, wait, there's more. And she says, I have a question to you, Casey. I remember Bryce mentioned something, how you were shocked that me and Bryce were in the top 4 for the favorite couple compared to anybody else. Yet, it was you that switched up the moment that you know what I'm saying, go away from the villa for a couple of days. Why did you make that comment if you were able to switch up so fast? And so then Casey's trying to like ponder his response and trying to say, well, that's false. That's not true. I didn't switch up in the first minute. We saw the heart rate challenge, Casey. You know what I'm saying? You were egging Corbin on when he basically said Kenzie was good as gone. So then says, I get that there was multiple bombshells, but you told Anaya that you did not want to explore anybody else because you were scared of how she would react. But the moment that you are away from Anaya, you actually go do your thing. And it gives that you are a sneaky person and you are a grown ASS man. And then Melody comes in to whack KC. You didn't want to explore Soul, but then when Sincere got Soul, and that's really the real reason that you didn't want to go there with Soul, is because ultimately Sincere got to her first. And then that's the only reason you were saying that you didn't want to explore. And then Casey is pissed. Casey has like a side eye, like really, Melanie, really, we're doing this right now. Really, we're bringing up Soul right now. Like you're really whacking me like this too. Like I'm already getting it for Trinity. Anaya's crying. You're coming at me too. Kate is making side comments. Like what are we doing, right? And so then Casey is shaking his head no and shaking his head. And Trinity was like, yes, you did. Don't lie to us. And don't lie. And Casey was like, no, stop. TT was like, at the end of the day, he's here for him. Trinity said, we are talking to Casey. She said, we're talking to Casey. No shade, right? No shade, baby. It is no shade. And then TT was like, I know, but Casey then says, that is the thing, though. Trinity, what are you talking about? You know what I'm saying? And Trinity was like, what are you talking about, TT? You know what I'm saying? I don't even know this chick, right? And so then she says to TT, I'm talking to Casey, right? TT was like, it don't matter. And ultimately, she said that he is here for him. And so then Trinity was like, baby, I'm not speaking to you. I am talking to KC. And Anaya was like, Casey's a grown man. TT was like, first of all. And then Casey had to stop her because I feel like this was going to lead to the alleged restraining order that somebody has against her. Production, have you checked TT's suitcase yet for the mace? And allegedly some jabs that have taken place. I don't know if it's true or not, but allegedly somebody has a restraining order and she made somebody, and there's another incident as well. Did you check her suitcase for anything that is damaging? Because it's about to escalate, right? So Casey stops TT from going off. And then Zach and Bryce, they decide to, you know what I'm saying, start snickering behind Trinity. They are cracking up. They think this is really hilarious. And I have to unpack what I think about that. You know what I'm saying? Because there's so much else going on, which is Casey's whacking, right? And so then while all of the girls are going after Casey and whacking him, Kata was like, you're a big boy, speak the F up. Then Sincere is looking over to his left and puts his hands in his hair and smiles. And I'm thinking to myself, like, what are we smiling about? Are you smiling because you're not on the hot seat for once? Are you smiling because you knew this was not going to go well for Casey? Like, I was trying to figure out what Sincere's thoughts were. And I'm pretty sure they were not sincere. Anyways, Casey says, Kata says, you're a big boy. You can speak the F up. Let him speak. Trinity was like, I am tired of y'all. And she was talking to the guys. I am tired of y'all speaking for him. So it sounds like there's a lot of coddling of Casey. But then at the same token, they go behind Casey's back and say what Casey says about Anaya and other things, right? So Casey says, I ain't gonna lie. I forgot the question. What? So then TT is like, first of all, I can speak if I want to speak. Y'all don't control me. I don't care if you know me or not. And Trinity was like, but listen, look at here. I am not talking to you. And TT is like, well, I am speaking to you. And Trinity is like, I'm not talking to you, so stop talking to me. I am talking to him. And then TT said, I said TT. TT said, first of all, you're a little girl, so you can stop talking to me. And Trinity said, I am not no little girl. You just got in here. And Caleb and Jaden's faces, y'all, are shook. They are like, what is going on? You know what I'm saying? What is happening? It has gotten real dark in here. It has gotten real messy in here. And Trinity said, witch with a B. I don't know you. I don't effing know you, witch with a B. And then Casey's smiling. Casey is smiling because he likes this. He loves this. This is what he wanted. He wanted TT back for the sole purpose for her to get buck with these girls in the villa. You can't tell me anything different. This is what Casey wanted. He is enjoying this. He is loving this, that the girls are all upset and out of sorts. So then TT was like, you can pipe down, I'm TT. Then Casey puts his head down and Kata says, this is a wrong way to come into the villa, witch, with a B. And then Trinity was like, I am talking to Casey's grown ASS. You just met this dude. And then Casey is still smiling, still rolling his eyes. And TT was like, well, I am speaking to you. And Trinity was like, get her out my face. Like, I don't even. Like, she can talk to her, you know what I'm saying? You could she was like, she could talk to her, and her hands pushed over to, like, Ariana Maddox's direction. Like, basically said, TT can talk to Ariana, I'm done talking to her. So then, and so then says, TT says, are you gonna shut me up? And Trinity was like, boot this girl up out this witch with a B. Anaya was like, is this Bad Girls Club? I said, no, Anaya, it's heading into Baddies territory, though. It is headed into Baddies territory. Baddies. That is where we are about to go. And so then, Casey then is smiling. And then he's smiling over at Ariana Maddox, you guys. Because he's loving this. He is entertained by all of this. And I do not know why you're entertained by all of this, because there is going to be so much fallout. So Trinity was like, you are defending a man that you have known 3 days, which is insane. And then somebody must have said something to Ariana. Somebody must have, you know what I'm saying, hit up her earpiece like we got to shut this down. Ariana, now here's the thing though. This wouldn't have been like the old host of season 4 and season 5 where Keenan was cussing out the host. This wouldn't have been like, you know, Ariana, you were not there, you know what I'm saying, when Jeff was about to be Nuck If You Buck with Timmy. You know what I mean? Like, it's not that level, but we're getting there. So Ariana's like, there's a lot of emotions. It's a really difficult night. It's hard to come back from Casa. It's hard for you guys, but hopefully y'all can squash it now. And I don't know how you can squash it when that's not how this works, Ariana. I know some people have different ways of handling conflict, but this is not going to be squashed. So then Trinity was like, I'll show her who a little girl is. And TT's like, ain't nobody going to shut me up. And so then I put in there, I was like, the production tech check TT's suitcase, because I feel like, you know, Trinity needs to sleep with one eye open tonight. Because I don't know if the mace has made it into Fiji. Does anybody know if there is any sharp devices or mace inside of TT's suitcase? Just from the alleged history of what the people are saying. So then, you guys, Casey says that, you know, as far as his feelings, because Ariana's like, we have to pick up with Casey's feelings. So Casey says that he feels that Anaya is allowed to feel how she wants to feel. He said that he understands that they had a connection, but like he said before, that this is for him, it's not for Anaya. And when he met TT, he felt like he knew her. She's from South Central. He said that he used to live in South Central, and when he talks to TT, he sees his mom and he hears his sister. And I was like, okay. So if a guy tells you that you remind them of their sister, I never thought of that as a positive. Maybe I'm missing something. Maybe I'm out of the loop. But if somebody tells me that I remind them of their sister, I'm not intrigued. I'm not flattered as a woman. Not, you know what I'm saying? Nonetheless, then said with Anaya, Casey says, Anaya, you know we fit, but it took some time. It took a lot of effort. But with TT, there was no work I had to do. And that is the bottom line. You did not have to work for anything. Those girls were all over you, Casey, because they're trying to make this villa. They're trying to get to this 100K. They're trying to get to this 100 thou wow. You know what I'm saying? And so ultimately, you know what I'm saying? You didn't have to do anything. It is effortless. TT is easy. TT was willing to give you all of the things that you were complaining that Anaya wasn't going to do. Anaya is not that type of girl to where she's just going to do X, Y, and Z. There's going to have to be work put in. So then, he said that he understands people are going to feel some type of way because we make connections in here and we feel like a family, but this is my life. And I understand, you know, Trinity after 3 days. Yes, after 3 effing days, this is how I feel. And I got to stand on all 10 and I'm going to. And Trinity says, period. Congratulations, Casey. And Casey says it is what it is. And Casey says that doesn't mean my connection with Anaya was fake. And, I said those letters and speeches look sus. Caleb and Timmy from season 4 had a baby, and it's you. So then Casey says, I appreciate Anaya. She's a great effing person. She comes from a great effing family. She's going to do some great things. And so then Anaya was like, oh, so he's just writing me off. You know what I'm saying? He's just writing me off. He thinks I'm about to be kicked up out this villa. He thinks it is over. It is done. So, you know what I'm saying? He's never going to have to see me again. Right? And so then Casey was like, I couldn't come back here and not be real and not be me. I don't need nobody to respect me. And Kata was like, don't worry, we don't respect you. And Casey was like, yeah, laugh, I don't give an F. Trinity was like, you don't have to. Anaya was like, we can tell that you don't give an F. Kata's like, we know, Casey. Casey was like, this is my decision. And Casey was like, I told you, if you find someone in here that you could connect with better, I want you to do that for you. You never said that back to me. And Anaya was like, okay. But why would Anaya say that to you if she thought that you were her best connection? Because, like I said, she actually fell for you. So she believes that you're her best connection, right? And so basically Casey was like, I'm not trying to flip nothing. And Anaya was like, you're definitely flipping things. And Casey was like, I'm just being real. And Anaya was like, fine. You know what I'm saying? Like what else you want me to do? Like you made your decision. So Ariana asked Carl, you know what I'm saying, what his thoughts are. And I was like, here we go. Because specifically production casted Carl, that he was handpicked, you guys. So Carl says there are a lot of emotions going around. He says Anaya is beautiful, she's super smart, and I'm of course a little disappointed in her decision, but I wish you all the best, I do. And then why does KC have a loud sigh? He's like, like a loud sigh, like he was annoyed. It was really weird. So then Ariana was like, well, you chose to couple up with TT, and Anaya, you were single and vulnerable. Nobody clapped. Nobody clapped. Kata is still squeezing Anaya's hand. Anaya's like, I just didn't give an F. And then Casey puts his head down and shakes his head. The coupling's officially over, officially convinces. Ariana sends the men home and says, you know, you got to pack your bags and get to that Fiji airport. But first, I believe you have to make a stop at After Sun. So then she says as well that I understand that dating can be difficult, you guys. But ultimately, you know what I'm saying? Let's be kind to each other. And then Tay is smiling because she has zero intentions of being kind to these people. And so then Anaya is talking about Carl. And I think in this moment, it has hit Anaya that she made the wrong choice. That she realized that she completely effed up. And these emotions now have nothing to do with Casey and are all about Carl. And she's like, Carl's so cool. Kate is like, I know, he really was. And Anaya's like, Carl is such a good guy. And then she's like, I can't right now. And then she starts crying again. And Melanie's like, let's get up. Let's get out of here because TT was already smiling. Because she likes the fact that Anaya is upset. That Anaya, because she feels like she won. She feels like she has a prize in KC. And she has no idea that KC's about to do her dirty too. But anyways, Melanie was like, don't cry. Don't give them the satisfaction of seeing you cry here. We're going to get up on out of here. So Melanie, Jen, and I believe Kenzie walk Anaya out. And then Anaya like stumbles, right? She like stumbles and almost falls over crying. And then they get her back together and she continues walking. And while Tate is smiling at all this, Casey's looking away. And Anaya then makes the comment, I should have just kept Carl. And then the screen goes black, the episode ends. So we have a vote, you guys. And the vote is not best couple. The vote is not favorite girl or boy. It is to save a male Casa Amor member and a female Casa Amor member, right? So I'm going to post my post on the Tickety Talk, but I chose Amora to stay because I feel she needs to come back and shake things up. And I chose Carl to stay. Now, the reason why I don't feel Corey should come back is because Melanie is locked in with Sincere, so I feel like that's a waste of time. I feel like Ronnie is a waste of time because ultimately Jen had the opportunity to pick him and she chose not to, right? And ultimately, the other couple of guys, it's a no. It's a no, y'all. So hopefully Carl comes back. Hopefully production, you know what I'm saying, Sunday or Monday sends Anaya a text, sends Carl, lets her know that she's been picked out on a date, you know what I'm saying, that there's some unfinished business, and hopefully her and Carl can have a conversation. Hopefully Anaya apologizing that she chose KC, all of that she got in her head, that she thought that KC really liked her at 3 weeks. She had no clue that he was going to do this to her, and you were a nice guy, you were a sweet guy, I took you for granted, you know what I'm saying, would you like to continue this journey with me, all of that. Now here's the thing,
This has happened a couple of times on the Australia show. So for those of you guys who have not watched the Australia show, what has happened a couple of times, there was somebody who got dumped the first night, and then they came back onto the show and ended up winning with somebody. Sorry, spoiler alert. But then there was another couple who I believe they are, well, I'll tell you in a little bit. Spoiler alert. But what happened was they were in another connection. They got dumped from the villa. However, they really liked somebody else in the villa. But they did not really get to explore the connection because they were involved with somebody else. So what happened was he came back to the show. He was on a date, and they texted the girl to go out on a date with this gentleman. And basically she had the choice on whether or not to bring him back to the villa, or he would be dumped for good. So they came back to the villa, and they ended up winning the show. I believe now she's expecting a child with him and all of this. But both of these things happened on the Australia version. So I know it's bad for Anaya. I'm not going to drag her because she does not know how bad Casey was talking about her. And like I said, she fell for the love bomb. She fell for the love bombing, but hopefully they can send her on a date with Carl either Sunday or Monday, and this can get back on track. And I just hope she pays Casey dust. I had it in another realm. I thought the Anaya, you know what I'm saying? But maybe it was me. I would have stood there at that fire pit and I would have ripped up that letter. But see, that's how I move. You know what I'm saying? Or I would have threw the letter in the fire pit, right? Because it was all a lie. It was all a lie, and you lied just to lie. Nonetheless, that is it for this video. I can't believe I talked to y'all for an hour. I never talk to nobody for no hour on this platform. So nonetheless, that is it. That is all. Do me the biggest favor and do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. That's it. That's all. It's todos es final. It's finito. It's the end of the road. It's the end of the line for this video. Y'all better unleash in the comments, y'all, because I gave you an hour. Since this episode was like an hour and a half, and I'm never doing this again. But please do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you're notified the moment I post the content on my channel. And with that being said, I'll talk to you guys again very soon.